Okay, so first up, this guy right here. We respect your privacy. Cookies help us improve your experience, blah, 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 blah. So in Great Britain and the UK, they decided that they want people to be protected from harvesting information. So, whenever you go to a website, cookies get placed in your browser to help them, the host, keep track of where you go on their website. And every time you visit a website, all of that stuff is stored in the cache of your browser. Helps load your browser, or helps the sites load up faster the next time you visit them, especially if it's a static site. So stuff that gets loaded in the background, like CSS and JavaScript, images, videos, all that gets cached in your local browser. And in the good old days when your browser started running slow or your computer started running slow, you'd clear that cache out, and then it would go faster, and then over time it would re-download everything. Well, it's a treasure trove of information about you and where you've been, what you're into, what you like, what you don't like. They can fingerprint you based on your cookies, based on where you've been. Great Britain was like, hey, we don't like that, so we want people to have the option of opting out of that. So they now require this little pop-up here. But because the traffic to our sites is going to be so minimal, it's not worth worrying about it. But as students learning about websites and learning about WordPress, it's important for us to understand that is something that we need to be aware of, especially if we're building for clients or we're going to build our own high traffic website. This needs to be a part of it. So that's what that's all about. I know y'all have seen these messages before. Basically every website that you visit is asking for your permission, and you almost always, unless it's some sales thing, I accept them because I don't have anything to hide. But that's up to you. So I'm going to accept all on this one, and then you'll never see it again unless you clear out the browser cache on this computer. But if you visit your website, let's say from your phone or from your house, basically a different IP address coming into my web host, it's going to trigger that warning again and ask you, hey, what do you want us to do with the cookies? Can we know who you are, or do you want to be private? And why? Why do you want to be private? What's up with that? Anyway, it doesn't actually ask that. And then this puts this little icon down here. It's a cookie policy. So if you click on that little icon, you can see what they're keeping track of. This is probably one of the more robust implementations of that policy. All right, so everyone got the same awesome looking website with so much cool stuff, right? Isn't this amazing? Now you'll notice mine has our familiar dashboard line at the top because I'm currently signed in. Y'all are not signed in to yours though. Well, how do we sign in, Mr. C? I'm so glad you asked. If you go up to your URL, after the .org part, put a / there and type WP-admin. That's spelled like that. WP-admin. That will look something like this. This is where your papers come in handy. Dun, 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 dun. So let's go ahead and log in. Okay. So if you get that screen that's asking you to tell us about your site, don't do it. Skip. In the lower left-hand corner, there's a button that says Admin Dashboard. Click on that. So, Namecheap is the company that is hosting our website, and because it's Namecheap, there's some stuff that they have automatically installed for us in terms of plugins, and these are great things to have also. We're going to go through what each of these items are. The first thing we need to do though is a little housekeeping and get ourselves familiarized with our site. So obviously our sign-in is different. There's no more, like on WordPress.com you had an account overview and you could have multiple websites installed. You just get this one website. Now we may do another project where we install another website, And I may enable multi-site so you can put multiple websites under your control. But for right now, it's just this one website. So please proceed with caution. As if you're like, well, I wonder what this will do. We don't have the freedom to just quickly reset stuff. It's basically I need to reinstall everything. And there's a couple things we can try. It's not like catastrophic if something goes sideways. Usually swapping out a theme. I will, over the weekend, probably back all of these sites up so that we will have a point in time that we can roll back to. And that's probably going to be something I'll set up on a regular basis automatically. So if something does go wrong, we've got a point in time that we can revert back to. But that's one of the first big differences between WordPress.com and a self-hosted WordPress instance. So what we're running right now is WordPress, and it's provided by WordPress.org. WordPress.org does not let you set up a WordPress website like WordPress.com does. WordPress.org is simply a place for you to get information about WordPress and to download the WordPress binaries that lets you install WordPress on a host. Most modern hosts provide a quick script to install WordPress, so you're not having to manually upload a zip file, unzipping, editing the config.php file to connect to the database, creating database users. All of this is done automatically, and I'm actually pretty happy with that. I thought it would be fun to walk you through all that stuff, but we're trying to learn WordPress, and I think that would be a couple weeks of pain that we just don't need, honestly. So I think running from this part is good. Now, some other key differences is that with our self-hosted WordPress, we have the ability to just go crazy. Like we can add all the heckin' CSS we want. We can do all the plugins we want. We have the freedom to do so much that we couldn't do with our WordPress.com site, and that's awesome and also a little scary because it means we can mess some stuff up. So you will see Namecheap's name there, and I love the name Namecheap. It feels funky, but this site assistant is where we go if we're just learning WordPress, which we are not. We know WordPress, but there's some cool information in here. Specifically, some of these guides are great to help you configure stuff, learn how to use some of the newer features in WordPress. If you want to proceed on your own without me gatekeeping information, which I try not to do, but obviously we can't do everything in one day. So, if you want to upload a site icon and you feel you have the graphic chops to put one together, walk through that, and by all means, go for it. Okay, but what we want to be is on the dashboard. So we're going to click right here on dashboard. And first off, there's two dashboards. There's all of this stuff here is our main menu. That is also called the dashboard. And then there's actually a link here we can click on that is dashboard. So it's two dashboards. This dashboard here is like a shortcut place for you. You can actually edit this to do more stuff if you want. Like if you're adding posts often, you can create a widget here that will allow you to just create posts very quickly without actually having to click on posts and then add new. That's one example. Also, this tells you upcoming WordPress events. And then more importantly, you can do the thing that we're going to do right now, which is our site health status. Now yours should have a green circle and it should say good. But you may have 4 or 5 items that need to be dealt with. And I know there's one for sure that you need to have dealt with. So let's go ahead and click on Site Health Screen. And in that list there, what's at the very bottom of your list, Vienna?
Use
HTTPS. That's right. So HTTPS, most browsers will force you to use HTTPS. We talked about what that means already. It's a secure protocol. It's encrypted. But you can force the browser to not use HTTPS, and that means it's up to the website that you're visiting to force HTTPS, and that's what we're going to do, is we're going to enable that. So I believe if you click, I've already done it on mine, so click the drop down, and then hit the blue button, update your site's HTTPS. And it will ask you for your username and password, so you're going to need to type that again. But yes, it does log you out because you are now logging in with a new forced protocol. So the site health is something that is provided by the package that we've installed from Namecheap. So if you click this little drop down right here, it will show you all the items that did pass. So we don't really need to go to the site health anymore now. Also, okay, this right here, Help Center, you can close that out. We don't need that rolling. But in the future, heading to the, hitting the dashboard, your site assistant's going to generally be the first place you come up because Namecheap wants to help you. But if you click dismiss, then this stuff will go away. I would leave it there though. It's handy information. But the dashboard is someplace you want to go to periodically, especially for this site health. If that changes to yellow, or especially if it changes to red, then there's something that we need to look at. But there's security that's built into this instance of WordPress, so we're pretty safe. But we're gonna harden that even further and make a few more changes. Okay. So first up, let's change the title of our site. So let's go to Settings and General. The site title is no longer going to be my blog. It's going to be your name, portfolio. And then the tagline can be whatever you want. So once you've changed the site title and the tagline, we're going to scroll down all the way to the bottom, and we're going to click on Save Changes.
Do you want us to keep the email address, your email?
So let's go to Pages, and we're going to create a new page. We know how to do that, right? Add page. AI page creation. No. Uncheck this little box here that says open for new pages. We don't want that. The title of this page is going to be Home. This is our new home page. Speaking of AI, every new page is going to open up with, on the right hand side, AI tools. Thank you. I really love that. But for those of us that are still learning WordPress, it kind of freaks out the person that's not aware that I just need to click on the settings up here to see what I'm expecting. Now you can click or unpin this from the toolbar. And let's go ahead and do that. We don't need this right now, so we're going to just get rid of that. Goodbye, AI tools. You can always bring it back. If you click on the three dots there, there's the AI tools right there that you can re-engage, but we just want to leave this as our standard expected stuff. Okay. Sorry, a sentence or two. And once you're done typing 2 sentences, go ahead and click on Publish, and then Publish again. And then we're going to go back to our dashboard, hit that W. One of the nice things about self-hosted is you can't leave your site by hitting the W too many times. It just takes you back to this information. Yeah, please publish. So we're going to go back to our dashboard after publishing. And we're going to go to Settings and then Reading now. Be sure you're in your website, not Abby's. And instead of our latest posts, we're going to click a static page. We're going to hit that radio button right there. And the home page is going to be home, the page we just created. And our post is going to be, well, we don't have one yet. Let's just leave that alone. And then search engine visibility. We want to discourage search engines from indexing this site at this point. And then be sure and choose Save after you've selected Home as the home page. All right. Now if you want to, you can click on Visit Site and see now that you have a title that says home and then your content. All right, let's go to pages again, and let's edit our home page. And let's do the H4 nonsense again. Also, for fun, if you forget to change it into an H4.
And we're making it my H4 right in our CSS.
Yes.
The first one.
Yeah, first one.
Okay.
If you just type it out and you're like, oh, I wanted this to be an H4, if you hover over your text there, and there's that Pilcrow symbol for paragraph, if you click on that, you can transform it to a heading. And yes, as Vienna mentioned, the first H4, we're going to click on that and go to our sidebar here, and under Advanced, Additional CSS Classes, My H4. Hopefully I went fast enough and I lost half of you. I don't see any hands up, so I got to go faster. Okay, so now, dun, 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 let's go to Editor. There it is. And Styles. And scroll down here where it says Additional CSS. Okay, so we're going to hit Enter or Return for a new line. Who's never used CSS before? Raise your hand. Okay, sweet. We've all done it. Okay, so what I want you to do is type H4 and then open curly brace and close curly brace. And then inside of there, we're going to type color, red, semicolon. And what we're saying is, hey, H4, I'm going to break this away from everything else. H4, everything that's H4, we're going to make the color of red. Anywhere on the site where we use H4, if I save this CSS, all that's going to be red. Now on WordPress.com, we could change color, but we had to do it individually, page at a time. We could not do site-wide custom CSS. It was not possible. And we really couldn't do any CSS on WordPress.com, unless you paid for it, of course. But let's say I want to actually just do the one H4 that's at the top. So instead of using a HTML declaration, or the, oh man, I haven't taught CSS in so long. An HTML word, it's the best I can think of. We're going to use a class. And those all start with a period, and it's my H4. And so if you assign a custom class name to a block, you can address that block in here, in your custom CSS. And then if you want to have red for specific H4s or specific anything, like you could change this to my sig color, and then any block that you wanted to be red, you could give it the class of my sig color. And the cool thing about that is you can come back to the CSS file, and let's say instead of red, you wanted it to be blue. just do it with this H4. And it's blue now. Or it's
Can you also
teal.
use hexadecimal code? Or no?
So Vienna is talking about the RGB colors. So something like that. Let's leave that, because I am going to look at this and I want to make sure everyone is getting a good experience here. All right, so now it says review one change. So we're going to click on that and we're going to save. Awesome. So for me now, anywhere I use my H4 class, it's going to be this purpley color. All right, so we've saved it. Any issues? Do you have a question? No, you're good? Okay. Sweet. All right. So let's talk about plugins. So over here on the left, we have plugins. So let's click on that. Now, plugins are bits of code that you can either upload to your site or grab from WordPress. Plugins allow your site to be extended, and additionally, you can add features, you can harden security, you can create custom post types. There are just a whole slew of plugins. There are plugins that give you additional blocks. Plugins are amazing for WordPress. You can do just about anything you need to with a plugin without ever having to go into WordPress core and change any of the PHP stuff, which is great. Because anytime you mess with the PHP, if you don't do it correctly, you can truly hose things up. The problem is that because of how WordPress is basically this loop, it loops through and has these things called hooks that pull in all the different content, it pulls in all the different functions, all the functionality, the plugins, the layout, the CSS, all of that gets looped through this thing. And so if there's an error in there, it throws the whole loop off. And if you have too many plugins, it has to process all of that excess stuff, and it can slow the site down. How many plugins are too many, you might ask? I do not know. I will say if you have 100 plugins on your website, something is not right. Here's what happens though. Here's how you get to 100 plugins. Is you try a plugin and you're like, I don't like what that did. I'm going to try something else. So you find a different plugin and install that plugin, never deactivating and never deleting the old plugin. And then your plugin stack gets massive. This is what I would consider a almost borderline too many plugins, but I think we're okay. As long as you're under 20, you should be pretty safe. Now, some plugins are heavier than others. Some will weigh your site down and slow things down more than other plugins. But they help your site to, or they help you, I should say, to design more quickly, to have more functionality in your website, stuff that WordPress core did not come with. At one point, the block editor was a plugin. Gutenberg was something that was invented outside of core WordPress, and WordPress was like, whoa, this is actually pretty legit. Lots of people are using this, let's go for it. So they did that. And there's a ton of theme builders out there. Programs that you can pay like $150 a year, and you get this massive package of blocks, block editors, themes, you get templates, you get so much content, and you really don't need to get into the nitty-gritty stuff in WordPress. And you can look like a really fantastic designer with a lot of these template engines that are out there. But again, those things cost money. There was one thing that I was trying to figure out for the custom post type for us. It used to be the thing that I was looking for used to be free, and it is still free, but now they've added a paid tier, and it's $149 a year to use it.
Truly unfortunate.
For each instance. And I'm like, and there's no student option. It's just like, this is, because they know it's popular. They know that what they've got is something that's sought after. There are people that make a lot of money developing plugins for WordPress. If you are into programming and you want to dig into some PHP stuff, that is definitely an avenue to look into. But whenever we do a first install in WordPress, we want to go through and do an audit of our plugins and make sure that we don't have extra stuff that we don't need. And I'm going to go through these and try and explain what they are. You won't have this one, Advanced Custom Fields. If you do, let me know. You shouldn't. Okay, this one right here, Akismet Anti-Spam Spam Protection. Now yours still says activate. And I'd like you to click on that word activate so we can activate our anti-spam spam protection. It's going to ask you to do something. Do not do it. Just go back to the plugins. And that should be now activated. Yes? So what it's trying to do is sell you something. Akismet is one of the first plugins that it was part of WordPress, because as its original blog platform, people could comment and make posts on your blog posts. And so the Akismet anti-spam prevented people from posting junky stuff. And we will probably not allow posts or comments on any of our pages or any of our blog, because no one really does that anymore. But it's still good to have that as a backup, especially until we remove the posting capability from within our templates. And so leaving it, let it do its auto updates is probably best. Right here on the right-hand column, automatic updates, it says enable auto updates. Click on that, and if you did it right, it should now say disable auto updates. Now, just like on your phone, when you have programs, or apps I should say, on your phone, you can think of these plugins as apps that allow the core version of WordPress to do additional things. When you install an app on your phone, your core phone features now have abilities like being able to play music or browse the web safely or play a game, right? But sometimes they can conflict with each other. And WordPress, that's very, very true. Whenever you are installing a new plugin, you always want to make sure that it is part of a long-standing development lifecycle, that it has been updated within at least the last 4 months. Because what happens is if this plugin that you're trying to install has become what we call stale, meaning the developers have abandoned it, they're not making any money, or they can't afford to keep it up to date, it will still live on WordPress, because there are people that run older versions of the WordPress core system. Well, when WordPress gets updated, sometimes these plugins break if the plugins are not being actively updated, and that will cause a conflict. Also, some plugins can conflict with each other. So whenever you run into an issue with your site not working right, and trust me, you'll know when your site is not working right because it will be on fire. The first thing we do is we go through and we deactivate every single plugin. And you'll see here on mine, I've got this Advanced Custom Fields has the word deactivate, and now your Akismet has the word deactivate because that plugin is activated. And you can click on that to deactivate, and you can do that each plugin at a time, or you can click this checkbox right here at the top to select all the plugins, and then you can deactivate them. Don't do that though, please don't do that. But that's how you do it. So you choose deactivate and then you click on apply, but don't do that. But that's how you do it. Okay, so anti-spam, we definitely want to keep that rocking and rolling. All right, cookie admin. This is our cookie consent banner. This is the thing that we saw when we first visited our website, and it will be the thing that people see when they first visit our website, asking for, do we have consent to store cookies in your browser, and also can we scrape your information? So this one we definitely want to enable auto updates also. So Cookie Admin Pro, this comes courtesy of Namecheap. I don't know. We're going to leave that alone. This may be like a limited offer, like they give it to us for free for a month because there's no auto update option there. So, okay. Extendify, WordPress onboarding and AI assistant. We're going to leave this alone, but we are going to enable auto updates for it. So Extendify provides templates, block patterns, and then also AI guidance to help you build pages faster, especially using the Gutenberg editor. We will probably use that at some point because it makes things so much easier. Okay, Hello Dolly is garbage. They still include it. Honestly, I think they include it here just so that we have something to demonstrate how to delete a plugin. And that's what we're going to do. Hello Dolly, I think it creates when it's activated, it creates a post called Hello Dolly, and it might have the Hello Dolly lyrics. Anyway, we're going to hit delete and get rid of this. Yeah, Matt Mullenweg. He's the guy that he started Automatic and started WordPress. So this was probably the very first plugin that he ever wrote. Just like when you had, what was it, MySpace? Tom was always your friend. He was your first friend on MySpace.
Could be.
So we'll click delete on that. Are you sure you want to delete Hello Dolly? Of course I do. Okay, bye. Successfully deleted. All right, this one here, instant images, you won't have that, so let's move on to the next one. Lightspeed Cache. This is a very good one. This one takes your pages and in a very intelligent way, it creates what's called a cache of those pages. And there's very many iterations of that, several different iterations for how it works. But number one, let's enable auto updates for that. So what a cache means is, or cache, however you want to say. I think it's pronounced cache. Cache is something different, but it's kind of the same thing. But a cache is, so whenever you visit your site, this page right here, WordPress is activated, PHP is running, PHP connects to the database, knows what page you're looking for, pulls in all the different components and the templates and all of the stuff that needs to display this page. All of that database connectivity, that going back, that communication takes time. If this was just an HTML page outright, without any connection to the database, it would be way, way faster. And that's what a cache does, is it converts your templated page, your PHP page, into a much faster HTML page that doesn't require any connectivity to the database. And so it does that pretty automatically. And then when you make changes to it, it re-updates the cache. And you can sometimes I haven't spent too much time with this cache builder, but most of them have the ability to, like, you don't have to create the cache every time you make a change. Like you could say, okay, every 30 days, update the cache. Because if you're updating the cache every time you make a change, when you're building a page and you start making changes every time you save, if it has to go through rebuild the cache, that's going to take longer and that's going to be annoying. So, but that's the purpose of that plugin, is to provide a version of your site that's in a more compact fashion that loads up much, much faster. Okay. Loganizer. Let's enable auto updates on that one. So Loganizer is a plugin which basically how we logged into our website was going to WP-admin. Do you remember that? Well, everybody knows that because that's the default login page. So if hackers are trying to steal your codes, they'll go to your website /WP-admin and they'll start trying to log in. Now we have brute force attack blocking that is provided by Loganizer. Locks IP addresses after it reaches a maximum number of retries. It also allows us to redirect that login page, WP-admin. We can make a new login page that no one else would know what it is. And then we've got Loganizer Pro as well. Okay, on any of these, if you want more information, you can click on the View Details and it will bring a little pop-up and show you like more information about how it works. All right, you're also not going to have Meta Field Block. Site Assistant. Now, this is the one that keeps giving us the AI nonsense over and over again. I want to keep this around, so I'm going to deactivate it, but I'm not going to delete it. So Site Assistant, we're going to deactivate. And then Loganizer, we enabled auto updates. And we're done. There's no like save or apply or anything like that. I mean, there is an apply button, but that's if you do a bulk action with a selected plugin. So it's pretty much done. WordPress, there's not a lot of undo. When you're creating content on a page, you can hit Command Z or Control Z and it will undo like typing and stuff like that. But when you're clicking on stuff and doing configurations, it's not gonna be pretty if you need to undo. All right, sweet. Now this is kind of annoying. As you go through and you start to enable additional plugins, you start having updates and more messages from WordPress. They will show up in the header of all of your pages, and that can get kind of annoying. And this is one, it's asking you to set up your Akismet account, which costs money. And you can't make, unfortunately, this one won't go away. So because we're using it, because we've activated it, it's gonna live up there. So until we get rid of our ability to comment on our content, we're gonna leave the Akismet plugin in there, and that's just what that is. So don't be fooled by thinking you have to pay for something. Just let it sit up there. Let's go back to our pages. And let's go to our home page. Let's edit our home page. Now on WordPress.com, we had access to pixels right in the image block. So if you hit / and IM and there's image, if you click on that, pixels is no longer available to us. So in order for us to display images, we have to be able to grab them from somewhere else or upload them to our media library. Go ahead and click Save, even though we haven't uploaded an image. Let's go back to our dashboard. We're going to go to Plugins. You have to click on Add Plugin before you can search for plugins to install. Okay, so the plugin that we're looking for is called Instant Images. Now I've already got this one installed. Just make sure when you are installing plugins, you are looking for the ratings, how often it was, what was it last updated, if it's compatible with your version of WordPress, and then how many active installations. If you scroll through this long enough, you will find, here we go, this one has 3 stars and has 1,000 active installations. It is compatible with WordPress and it was updated 5 months ago, but it's only got 3 stars. Of course, there's only 2 reviews. So this is probably a fairly new one, but it has the same name as the one that we're actually looking for, but it's Instant Image Generator, not Instant Images. Okay, so you're going to click, mine says active because it's already activated and installed, but yours will say install now. Go ahead and click on install now, and then the install now button will change to activate, and you're going to click on activate. We're going to work with something called an API next. We're going to click on settings and then instant images. So let's open up a new tab. And go to pexels.com, P-E-X-E-L-S.com. And the first thing we're going to have to do is create an account. It's free. So you're going to click that black button in the upper right hand corner, join. What are you mainly using Pexels for? Downloading content. Now, if you're signed into your Gmail, the fastest way is to just sign up with Google, or you can create your own account. And it might want to email you validation stuff. You're going to want to go ahead and do that. And once you're logged in, you're going to go to pexels.com, but you're going to do /API/key and then hit enter. So after you've copied your API key, you're going to head right back over here, and this is the Pexels one. We're going to paste it right here, and then you're going to click Save Settings. And that's it. That's all we need out of this nonsense here. Thank you, Instant Images. Okay, so let's go back to our pages, back to our home page, back to this thing here, and I want you to click on this right here, Add Image. Oh, I guess we could do it down here too. Either way, we want to go to Open Media Library. And so when you do that now, you have a third selection, a third tab at the top here for Instant Images. And now we can search for images just like we did on Pexels before on WordPress.com. And if you like it, just click it and then it gets added. And if you click Select, now it drops that image right into that image block. Let's go ahead and save it. Okay, so refresh our page. Now we've got an image in there. Okay, that is the big stuff that's different from WordPress.com.